Good morning and welcome to Great Games Computer Learning Videos. This is the second video in the HTML5 Canvas video series. Today we'll be working with Tutorial 2, Drawing Lines. So let's get started. First, I'm going to bring up my editor and I'm going to also bring up my browser. Okay. So if you look at the left, you see the Tutorial 2. This is what the project should look like when we're finished. And I'm going to pull up another view, and this is what it looks like now. We have nothing. So the first thing we want to do is go over to our editor, and we're going to put in some HTML code that's going to help us get started with this project. So let's start off the top with a tag. Make sure that you put this in all caps. Okay, and then we're going to put in our HTML tags. And I've put an open HTML tag and a close HTML tag. Now I'm going to open this up because I know that there's going to be plenty of other things we're going to put in this document. So let's just open this up a little bit. And inside here, we're going to click right after our open HTML tag, and we're going to tab over one, and we're going to put our head section. I always put the open and close tags because it just keeps things a little bit more organized within the program, and later I don't have to go back hunting for the tags that I haven't closed. So anyway, inside this head section, we're going to put a title area. And we're going to also put a style area. Okay, we'll come back later and add some things to that. We just want to make sure that we also have the body section in here. So come down a line or so, or beyond the head section, and we're going to add the body section. And we'll put our closed body tag. Now inside this body section, we're going to have a few other things we're going to add. So I'm going to click inside of body, kind of like I did with the head section up above. And inside here, I'm going to put an H1 tag. And a close H1 tag. Then I'll put an H3 tag. Okay, now these are all HTML elements here. If you have not taken HTML before, you might want to go back and review some of these tags, but we will need to use some HTML as well as some CSS and JavaScript in order to be able to work with Canvas. So just want to let you have a heads up on that. So after we've put in the H1s, the H3s, we're going to put in our Canvas section here. So I'm going to put Canvas and lowercase letters. And I'm going to put my closed canvas. Okay, so we've got our canvas section here. And inside the canvas section, we're going to actually add some things, but let's go back into our open canvas tag for just a second. Let's specify for this canvas an ID, which is going to be like a name for that particular element. And we're going to call this My Canvas. Notice that I have the capital C in this particular word. So My Canvas, and close with a close quote there. Now I also want to specify a width and a height for this canvas area. Okay, so by default this is 300 wide by 150 high, but we don't want to use the default size for this project. Our canvas up here is a little bit bigger. So ours is actually going to be 400 across and 200 high. Okay, so inside this here area we're going to put width equals 400 and height is going to be equal to 200. Okay, so that should take care of that canvas area. Now, just in case someone tries to load this project and it doesn't have the latest versions on there to run Canvas, we want to have a message displayed to those users. So inside this canvas area, I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to put a little note in there saying update browser. Okay, just something as simple as that, and that way if they can't see the canvas in their browser, that message will be displayed and let them know that they need to update their browser. Okay, now after I've put the canvas tag in here, I'm going to come down and put a script tag. And these script tags are going to allow me to use JavaScript. The default language for most browsers is JavaScript, so we don't have to specify a language in here. But if we were to use another scripting language like VB script or some other language out there, we'd have to specify that scripting language. And hopefully that language is compatible with your software. So inside the script area is where we're going to be putting our JavaScript, and this is going to allow us to actually create the drawings that we're going to do inside of our program to make it look like this. I want to go back up to the top though and finish off a few items. So up in the title area, I'm going to title this Tutorial 2. Okay, and in the style area, I'm going to actually do a little bit of formatting using CSS with the body and the canvas area. So inside the style area, I'm going to tab over, type body, and an open curly brace here. And I'm going to format the background color. And I'm going to make this here a hexadecimal number. This is a shade of blue. So I'm going to put 4D7AFF, close quote, actually close semicolon, and that should take care of my, my background color. And I also want to format the foreground color. I want it to have a white text, kind of like this up here. So we're going to go ahead and just press enter, type color, and let's go ahead and make this white. Okay. Now there's two other things I'd like to do because I don't like the default fonts in most browsers. I'm going to specify a font that I want to use, and I also want the text to be aligned in the center of the page. So to specify my font in CSS, I'm going to put font dash, or like a minus sign, family, colon, and then in quotes I'm going to put the name of the font. So I'm going to use Century Gothic, and then a semicolon and a closed curly brace at the end. So I open with a curly brace and I close with a curly brace. This is the area that's going to be formatted, and this is the formatting that will apply to that particular element. Okay, so now I'm going to come down a line. I'll backspace over so I'm in line with body. I'm going to try to keep things lined up so it's easy to read. And I'm going to format the canvas area. Okay, so the canvas, I'm going to specify a background color. Which is going to be white. And I'll have the close the semicolon and then the closed curly brace at the end. Now the reason I'm giving this a background color is because by default the canvas is transparent, and whatever the color of the page is will be the color of your canvas area. Okay, so I want my background color of my page to be blue, but I want the background of the canvas area to be white, and you can see this over here. Okay, so that should take care of the top part of this here. Now I'm going to come down and fill in a few more blanks. This H1 is going to be the title on our page, and the title on our page is going to be the same as the actual title on the tab for it. So if you looked up here at the tab, you see Tutorial 2, and I also want the title on my page, Tutorial 2. So I'm going to scroll down inside of the H1 area. I'm going to go ahead and type in Tutorial 2. Okay, and then my H3 area is going to be my subtitle. So up here it's what we're doing with the tutorial. So in this case, drawing lines. Okay, we have our canvas already set. We have the ID at my canvas, width 400, height 200. We have a message in here in case the browser is not current enough to display the canvas area. It will display update browser in this area. And then I have down below a script area, and most of our work is going to be in that script area. I'm going to get started on that script area in just a minute. I just want to finish my page by putting my copyright information on here. So I'm going to use the header level 4. Inside here I'm going to put the name of the website here, which is Great Games. And I'll put a lowercase c inside of parentheses with the date, which represents a copyright date. And I'll close off that H4 at the end. Okay. Now I'm just going to do this here because I think it's a good idea for artists and designers to put their names or copyright information on their work. So I kind of would like to encourage you to do the same with your projects, just for your own protection. Let people know that it is your work, and you want to take full rights for that work. Okay, so that should finish off this, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. Just click on the Save button. I'm going to click on Run, and I'm going to launch this in Chrome. Actually, I don't really need to because I've got the page open down here. I'm just going to refresh the browser down here, and you see this show up. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit so we can see it. Okay. Now, it's not really aligned in the center. It's not aligned like we actually specified it to be, so we're going to take a look at that and see why it's not aligned. But everything else looks pretty much like the one up above. So let me go back in here, and as I look in here, I noticed that I put the font family, and we talked about aligning the text, but we didn't actually put the code in there for that. So I'm just going to click after the semicolon, come down a line, and I'm going to put text dash or minus align colon and then center. Okay, and make sure that the closed curly brace is at the end of that. Okay, let's save it, and we'll refresh this browser, and we see that we have almost identical projects here. Things that we're missing though are the lines, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. So let's go into the script area. If you find that inside of your editor, we're going to tab over, and we need to declare a couple of variables first. The first variable is going to start with var for variable, canvas, and we're going to set this equal to document dot and then get element by ID, and then we're going to pass a string, which is the name of the canvas, my canvas, close parenthesis and close semicolon. Okay, now mine is wrapping because the text is very large so that you can see it on your screens, but in reality you can put all of that on one line. This would be line number 22, and as I click on 22 you can see it. So var canvas, make sure this is all lowercase, equals, and then once again lowercase document dot get element by ID. The E, the B, and the I are capitalized. And then inside the parentheses we're going to pass a string, which is the name of the canvas that you want to actually write on. Okay, in this particular case, it's my canvas. After we've declared that variable, we want to declare another variable called context. So I'm going to put var again, context, okay, just like this. And I'm going to set this equal to the canvas dot get context, okay. And then in quotes, we're going to go ahead and put 2D. The D is lowercase. And then make sure that you have the open and close parentheses and a semicolon at the end. So, as you look at the code, it should say var context equals canvas dot get context. Remember that the C here is capitalized. And then inside the parentheses, we're going to pass a string called 2D, and D is lowercase. Okay. Once we have that in there, both of those variables, we're going to come down a couple of lines. And I'm going to put a comment in here that's mostly for the programmer or web designer. It has nothing to do with the browser. In fact, the browser ignores this comment. But anytime you start off with the double forward slashes, that's the beginning of a comment line. And then I'm going to just put rectangle box. Okay, and then in the rectangle box, we're going to go ahead and create this outside box first, and it's going to be drawn with 4 lines. Okay, so I'm going to start off by putting context dot, and then I'm going to put a method in here called begin path, followed by open close parentheses and a semicolon. As you look at this here, notice that the B is lowercase, the P in path is uppercase. Okay, it has to be typed exactly like that. If you type it any other way, it's going to cause an error for you. All right, so let's come down a line from here, and we're going to actually move our pen to a certain location on this canvas area. So I'll put context dot and then move to, and then open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and a semicolon. Now we're going to put a couple of numbers in here in just a moment, but I want to explain this move to. This move to is kind of like when you grab a pencil or a pen in your hand and you're not drawing on the paper yet, but you're moving to a location. When you get to where you want to put that letter or the sentence, you'll put your pen down on the paper and you'll start drawing. But when it's up in the air, you're moving to locations, and then we're going to have another statement in here that's line to, and that's like drawing from one point to another point. So this move to is where we're going to start, and we're going to move to this upper left corner right here. And I've already measured this out. This is 400 wide by 200 high, and this is 300 by 100, okay, for this inside rectangle. So as we come over here, if this is 300 and the entire canvas is 400, we have about 50 on each side. And my margin area is going to be 50 pixels. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to 50, 50, which is going to put me at the first 50 is 50 over on the left side, and the second 50 is 50 down from the top. It's always the X direction first, and then it's the Y direction, or the amount that you're moving over from the right and the amount you're coming down from the top. Okay, so that's going to start my line off. That's my point where I will enter and start drawing. Now I'm going to put context dot line to. Notice that the T's in move to and line to are capitalized. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this, and we'll come back and kind of figure out what our points are. This is starting at 50 from from X, and it's going to go over 300 more, so this will go over to 350. So I'm going to put 350 in here, comma, and I'm still coming down 50 from the top, okay, because it's a parallel line to this line up here. So I'm going to go ahead and put 50, And that should take care of my second line. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 more lines to go. So I'm just going to click on 28, press Control C to copy that into the clipboard, and then I'm going to come down and I'm going to paste it 3 times. So I've actually got 4 lines that I'm drawing here. The first one is a move to, where I'm going to start, and then I'm going to draw to these 4 points. The second point, if we notice, we're still at 350, but we're coming down. This is going to be 100 down, and we're starting at 50. So the second one's going to be 350 by 150. Okay, then we're going to be going from this point over to here. So this point over here is going to be 50 by coming down 150. So we'll take off 3 there, and we're going to add a 1 here. And the last one is going to be back up to the point where we started. So I'm going to just make this 50-50 because that's where we started right here. Now the last thing we need to do is call the stroke method. So I'm going to go ahead and put context.stroke, open close parenthesis. We don't have to pass any numbers to this one. And this should give us our outside rectangle. So let's run it and see what it looks like. I'll save it. I'm going to click on refresh, and I've got my rectangle box on the outside, just like this one. Okay. All right, now that we've got the rectangular box, we're going to put a couple of lines in there, a couple of vertical lines. These little boxes are like 100 by 100, so we can move this over 100 for each one and make it nice and simple. The easiest way to do that is I'm going to go ahead and copy the entire rectangular box thing that we just put in there. I'll paste it down below, so I've got another one. And I'm going to put this here in as a left line. Okay, and then I'm going to have one over here that's the right line. So this is on the left, this is on the right. And I know that I only have one line that I'm drawing, so I'm going to get rid of these other 3. Okay, you notice that I like to copy and paste and edit rather than just typing everything from scratch. We have this from scratch, and this is going to be similar, but we're only going to have one line instead of the 4. Okay, so we're going to begin our path. We're going to move to this point here. Okay, we said this one was 50 by 50. This one is over 100, so this one is 150 by 50. So we're going to put this at 150 by 50. And we're going straight down here, which basically this is going to be 150 down. So we're still at the same X location. We're going down to 150. So let's save it. And we're going to refresh. And now we have the first vertical line. That's the left one. And since this next line is identical to this, just different X location, we're going to copy this, paste it. And now we should have one over here for the right line. And the right line is going to be 100 over from this last one. So we're just going to put these at 250 for the X. The Y's are not going to change because they're still going from this line down. So I'll go ahead and save it. And I will refresh my browser. And you see that I've got tutorial finished. It looks exactly like the one up above. So if you need to go back and look at the video, please do so. We did put quite a bit of code in here. There's, I guess, about looks like just about 50 lines of code. And there I could take out a line here that's extra. But 49 lines of code. We did this fairly quickly. Go back and pause the video if you need to. Review it as often as necessary. And just make sure that you're really solid with drawing the lines. Okay, well that does it for this video. I will see you in video 3 shortly.